Now, it is time for us to welcome the fifth speaker. Saaya Kozeni from Kobe City University of Foreign Studies will deliver the speech under the title of The Knitted Bouquet. The Knitted Bouquet. Saaya Kozeni, please come up to the center of the stage.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, organizers, honorable judges, and all the audiences. Good afternoon. Thank you. Today, I'd like to talk about something very personal. It is a challenge that many of us might face, both directly or indirectly. It is about dementia. But more importantly, it is about love and how love must change when memory fades. I stand here today not as an expert, but as a granddaughter. My grandmother was my favorite person and she always will be in the world. When I was a child, she was always the one who held my hand. She was always sharp, she was strong, and she was always there. But then, the changes began. It started with small things. A forgotten key, a misplaced name. At first, we laughed it off. We thought it was just an age. But then, the laughter stopped. She started asking the same questions again and again. What time is it? 2 minutes later, what time is it? I was scared and I was confused. When the doctor finally said a word, dementia, I felt helpless and I didn't know what to do. She began to lose her skills. She couldn't fill the bath. The water would overflow. My family got frustrated. The house, once full of warmth and happiness, suddenly changed into full of tension. I still remember one day, very clearly. It still hurts to think about it. It was the day that we decided she should stop driving. The air in the living room was very heavy. We sat her down and said, "Grandma, you can't drive anymore. It's too dangerous." At first, we thought we were being logical here. At first, we thought we were doing the right thing. But logic didn't work here. She stared at me, with her hands trembling, with tears streaming down her face, and cried out, "Did you steal my car?" That moment broke my heart. But at the same time, it taught me a life-changing lesson. We were using logic to manage her emotions, but logic didn't work here. So what could have been done? Today, I want to emphasize 3 steps that I made to rebuild our bridge to her. First, stop scolding and start understanding. The first change might be the hardest. Stop getting angry. When she failed to cook rice, my natural reaction used to be, "Grandma, that's wrong. What are you doing?" I was frustrated because I was scared. I was mourning the woman who she used to be. But I saw something very terrifying. When we constantly say, "You can't," or "Don't do that," they don't hear the facts. They hear failure. They internalize our frustrations. They got pessimistic. They got sad. And they feel like they are a useless burden. When she asked me, "Did you steal my car?" she wasn't accusing me of a crime. She was expressing her fear. So I learned a power of pause. When I got frustrated, I swallowed my frustrations, took a deep breath, and I realized her memory might be broken, but her feelings are completely intact. And we must stop negative words that push her into darkness. Second, create a shared goal together. Caregiving often feels like a battle of control. Sit here, eat this, take your pills. It's exhausting for both sides. And I wanted to change that dynamic. So I asked her a special favor. I always know she loved knitting, so for my graduation ceremony, I asked her a special favor for knitting some flower bouquet. I got some colorful yarns and gave it to her and said, "Grandma, please make a flower bouquet out of these. I want to hold that in my graduation ceremony with the certificate so that I can give the pictures and you can see it." Suddenly, she got a mission. She wasn't a patient anymore. She was an artist. It was obviously hard for her at first. Her hands were slower than before, and she dropped some stitches, but she kept going. Giving them a goal, even if it's a small thing, reminds them that they are still needed in the world by people who care about them. Third, it is okay not to be okay. Lastly, but perhaps the most importantly, I want to speak up to the families. You cannot pour from an empty cup. For a long time, I have been trying to figure out everything by myself. I thought I had to be strong for everybody in the family. But it was wrong. It wasn't sustainable. I got easily grumpy. I was unwell, and I was feeling always overwhelmed. And it didn't save anybody in the family too. So I took a brave action. I started going to therapy. Sitting there in the quiet room, talking in front of the professionals and crying freely wasn't a betrayal to anybody. It saved me to process my feelings. It saved me to give the tools to be patient and kind again. Dementia is a crucial disease that takes away skills, that takes away memories. But it cannot take away our souls. My grandmother told me, even when the memory fades, our hearts still remain. So, for everybody, we can change how we respond. Start understanding their fear and stop scolding. Start create a shared goal that give them a purpose. Start be brave enough to be able to ask for help when you need it. I see myself having full of knitted flowers in my graduation ceremony in upcoming March. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saaya Kozeni. Then, we will have a question and answer session. Dr. Sasayama, please begin.
All right. Thank you, Saaya, for your beautiful story. Let me ask you a few questions. So, what helped you gain this new sort of different perspective on your relationship with your grandmother?
That was a great question. Thank you so much for asking. So at first, it started from scratch because it was new to me and there were nobody who experienced the same thing around me. And I felt very shy to speak up the topic in the first place. So I started Googling that from online, like what kind of stuff, so what kind of countermeasure the people who have gone through the same experience did. And I found some techniques and I found some books. And I thought what suits me the best was talking to somebody. But I felt like talking to people whom I know was a little bit overwhelming because friends haven't gone through the same thing. And my family was busy with their work and taking care of my grandma. So I thought the best thing is to rely on the third party for my case. Yeah.
Thank you. So the lessons you learned a lot of lessons, right, from interacting with your grandma. So those lessons that you learned, do you think they can be applied to other hardships in life?
Other hardships, yeah. Thank you so much for the insightful question. I think personally, yes, I think those countermeasures are applied to every situation. For example, for the first step, stop getting angry. It doesn't have to be about the family. When we talk with your friends and when we are in some relationships with some people, we always need to control our emotions sometimes in appropriate settings. So we have to kind of take a moment and rethink about our next steps before we say bad words. And yeah, before we hurt everybody's feeling, we have to stop and rethink what's going to next. And for the second steps is about creating a shared goal. It can be applied to teams and the schools as well. If the reader says, oh, let's do this, let's do that, let's start this, let's go there. But if people cannot sympathize with it, nobody is going to follow. So we have to kind of create a shared goal and the same purpose together. For the third step, I think it's about going to therapy, but it doesn't have to be the therapist and professional, and everybody can find people who suits them. So I think it can be applied to any situations.
All right, very good, thank you. So maybe let's talk about that second step a little bit more. I do think finding a shared goal is important, but maybe that's something that's not really easy to do, right? So do you have any tips on how we might do that?
Thank you so much for the question. For my case, I had belonged in some sort of internships. That is a work. But even in the work organization, people had some different goals. Like, it seems like we have the same shared goal in the same company and group, but everyone had the different goals. Oh, I want to launch my own company in the next couple of years. I want to do this by myself, and I don't want you to be the leader this semester. But I started talking about what encourages, what energizes us the most when we talk with people. And if I know what makes them motivated or what makes them feel like they are engaged in or belonging to the team, I feel much more easier to kind of get along with that people and create the shared goal together.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sasayama. Then, Dr. Jacobson, please.
All right, thank you. That was a wonderful, emotional, and sincere speech, so thank you very much for that. A great description of the feelings you experienced as your grandmother's condition changed. My first question is, what were you able to pick up from your grandmother about her experience as her condition changed? Was she aware? Did she talk to you about what she was feeling or noticing? Or what was her evolution in this process?
Thank you so much for asking that. At first, nobody noticed that what she was going through. So both like emotionally and physically, it was like this, like it was invisible. So, or at the first time we noticed something wrong with her is that she got very grumpy and angry with every small sentences we made. For example, like when I said, "Oh, Grandma, you forgot to do this. What are you doing?" And if she was normal, she said, "Oh, sorry, my bad." That's it. But she started to be very grumpy. "Why are you accusing of me of not doing this? Why are you saying? Why are you stressing me out of these small, tiny things?" And I started noticing that something might be wrong with her. And I started talking with her, not directly, but indirectly. So I asked her, "How are you feeling today? And let's go for a walk." And I tried to avoid to ask what she didn't remember and what she's feeling now. But indirectly, I asked her how she is feeling, and I noticed that different. situations.
Great, thank you. I think many people in this room have dealt with a similar situation. And my particular problem is always impatience. I get impatient, I get frustrated. Do you have any tips or tricks that could help someone like me when I feel impatient about how things are going?
Thank you so much. So I want to tell this tip to everybody, but scientifically it is proven that if people wait 6 seconds before we take some actions, it is said that we can kind of calm down a little bit. So before you react to it, I recommend you to wait 6 seconds at first and clear your mind. And I also recommend you to recognize that your feelings first. You don't have to deny how are you feeling, but you can just understand, and you can understand how are you feeling. You feel frustrated, and then you can have the 6 pause and think about the next action. Nobody wants to hurt anybody, so you might be able to think about the next action that won't hurt anybody.
Thank you. Last question. Caregiver burnout. So the process by which we just can't do it anymore. Like you said, we're trying to pour from an empty cup. This is a widespread issue. So beyond personal therapy on an individual basis, what kinds of community or governmental support might help out caregivers?
Thank you so much. So there are some couple of ideas for me right now that comes up in my mind. But the first thing is that government can have some sort of like online portals. It can be AI as well too, but some sort of online supports that everyone can share the same experiences too. When I Googled therapy in Japan, it didn't pop out. Like it was just like a massage therapy thing, and I struggled to find the therapy I was looking for. So government can maybe launch some platforms that everybody can access to it, and the counselor doesn't have to be the person and professional. It can be AI. Sometimes I ask ChatGPT too. So it can be one idea, and also more likely, I think. Having the community and the sense of belongings is also the effective way to feel that, I'm not only the person who's going through the same thing. So having that community even in the local club or school might help a bit. So people can kind of choose the way they are looking for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jacobson. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Sasayama, Dr. Jacobson, and Saaya Kozeni. Saaya Kozeni, please return to your seat. Please give the judges a few minutes to mark their judging sheets.